Hello friends, this is Barbie Daily with Rural Life in the Valley. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this week's Flip Through Friday. It's hosted by the wonderful Gwen from Gwen the Trash Switch, and the challenge is just to flip through anything that you would like to share. And today I am going to flip through my story of the keeper of, I should say my book of the Keeper of the Forest, but also I have written a story, and I do want to tell you right in advance that although the story is a lot of it is my own, I did use ChatGPT just to get a little help. So it's pretty magical, and I really hope that you enjoy it. Also, in the description box or under a pinned comment, there will be more information on this story and why I wrote it, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. So if you're interested after the video, check that out. And I'll leave the links to my other two videos, part 1 and part 2 of The Keeper of the Forest. So here is the little booklet that I made, and I'm going to now reveal the name of the Keeper of the Forest. Up until now, I hadn't told you what the name was, but it's a very special name, Keanu, and that's because I've written this book for a special little boy, and he's just turning 1, but his mom and dad have been great supporters of my channel, and they love all types of things like this, and so I thought it would be really special for them. So as I open the book, I'm going to read the story. And here is the page. And I'm not going to show you all the pages. I'm just going to read out of this one and then continue as I flip through. So the story is The Keeper of the Forest, a fairy tale by myself, Barbie Daily. In the oldest part of the forest, where the pine trees grew so tall their tops vanished into the mist, there lived a boy named Keanu. The animals called him Keeper of the Forest. Keanu was not an ordinary boy. He could speak to roots beneath the earth and hear songs inside the rivers. When he walked through the woods, moss brightened beneath his feet, and tiny blue lights drifted around him like floating stars. The forest trusted him because he listened carefully to the wind, to the rain, and to every creature that called the forest home. Each morning, Keanu climbed from his little treehouse nestled high in a ponderosa pine. He carried a carved staff made from a fallen tamarack tree, and around his neck hung an emerald acorn, a gift from the ancient forest spirits. The tamarack tree was magical itself, as each autumn the pine needles would turn a bright gold before shedding all of its pine needles. Then every spring it would grow beautiful new needles. The first animal to greet him every dawn was a great buck named Rowan. Rowan's coat shimmered like sunlight on the water. Gold and copper colors rippled across his fur wherever he moved, and his antlers carried strands of ivy and white blossoms. "You are late today," Rowan teased one morning, lowering his proud head. Keanu laughed. "The owls kept me awake arguing all night." "They were debating moonberries again," Rowan said wisely. Nearby, hidden among the ferns, a wild hare popped up onto a stone. Her name was Pip, and she wore a tiny mushroom bonnet that bounced every time she hopped. Red-capped toadstools curled perfectly over her ears like a fancy woodland hat. "The mushrooms are unhappy," Pip announced dramatically. The mushrooms are always unhappy, Rowan muttered. Pip ignored him. The eastern grove is too dry. Keanu knelt down and pressed his hand to the ground. At once, the soft green light spread from his fingertips through the roots beneath the soil. He could feel the thirst of the forest tugging gently at him. "You're right," he said. He raised his staff toward the clouds. The wind stirred, leaves spiraled upward in glowing circles, and far above the treetops, gray rain clouds drifted slowly across the eastern grove, and rain began to fall. The mushrooms immediately perked up. Pip grinned. "Excellent." Suddenly, bushes crashed nearby. Out stomped Bristol, the wild pig, with dark spotted patches scattered across her broad back. Leaves clung to her ears and mud covered her snout. "There's trouble by the creek," Bristle snorted. "The water has stopped moving." Keanu's smile faded. The forest streams never stopped. Together they hurried through the woods. Birds flew overhead while the squirrels chattered nervously from branches. When they reached the creek, Keanu saw the problem at once. A heavy wall of fallen branches and stones blocked the water, but this was not an ordinary landslide. Dark vines twisted through the pile like snakes, pulsing with strange, shadowy magic. Keanu touched one carefully. Cold rushed into his fingers. "The hollow thorn," he whispered. The animals fell silent. Deep beneath the forest lived an ancient elf called the Hollow Thorn, a creature of rot and bitterness that hated growing things. Long ago, the forest spirits had sealed it underground, but now its dark magic was creeping upward again. A tiny voice squeaked from the grass. "We must hurry." It was Fern the field mouse, who wore a delicate crown woven from mushrooms and tiny flowers. Lavender petals rested between miniature white toadstools atop her head. Fern trembled as she climbed onto Keanu's boot. "The roots beneath the hill are turning black." Keanu looked toward the distant ridge where ancient trees stood packed together like guardians. If the corruption spread there, the whole forest could weaken. He tightened his grip on the alder staff. "Then we stop it tonight." As evening fell, the forest gathered around the moonlit hollow. Fireflies glowed between the trees like floating lanterns. Rowan stood proudly beside Keanu. Pip adjusted her mushroom bonnet importantly. Bristle pawed the earth with determination while Fern sat upon a stump like a tiny queen. Keanu stepped into the center of the hollow and planted his staff into the earth. The emerald acorn around his neck blazed a bright green. Immediately, dark vines burst from the ground, writhing and hissing. The hollow thorn had awakened. Shadows spread across the clearing, swallowing flowers and grass. But Keanu closed his eyes and listened, not to the darkness, but to the forest itself, to the roots, to the heartbeat of the roots, to the rivers underground, to every living thing around him. Then he lifted both hands. Green light exploded outward. Vines of ivy, glowing moss spiraled through the air. Rowan charged forward, his shimmering coat blazing like sunlight. Pip darted beneath shadows Faster than falling rain, Bristle smashed through the dark roots with her powerful tusks, while Fern scattered glowing flower seeds that burst into brilliant blossoms wherever they landed. The forest fought beside its keeper. At last, Keanu spoke the oldest words the trees had ever taught him. The ground rumbled. Great roots rose from beneath the hollow and wrapped around the shadowy vines, pulling the darkness deep underground once more. Then silence fell. A soft breeze moved through the trees. The forest was safe. One by one, the fireflies returned to the clearing. Rowan bowed his antler head. "Well done, keeper." Pip sniffed proudly. "I helped the most." "You hid in a log for half the battle," Bristle replied. "It was a strategic position." Keanu smiled at all of them. Above the forest, stars glittered between the branches, and somewhere deep in the woods, ancient trees whispered their thanks. And for as long as Keanu watched over the forest, no darkness would ever truly claim it. Well, thank you, friends, for listening to my little fairy tale. I do hope you enjoyed it. I have been very excited to share it with you. And so with that, I'd like to wish you a wonderful, magical day or evening, wherever in the world you are. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Now be sure to go over to Gwen's channel and see what she is flipping through today. She always has something really super interesting. And then you can use the hashtag #FlipThroughFriday to find all the other channels that have participated in this. And there is a lot of channels and a lot of variety. So let's